Okay, I think we're going to go live now, Lawrence.
That's fine.
Okay. I believe we're live, I think.
Woo!
Woo, so exciting. Back in the game, Lawrence, after
Yay!
last week.
Yeah.
Welcome all. Welcome to
Welcome.
this wonderful live stream of Final Fantasy goodness.
I know, aren't we just amazing?
We are super amazing. Who asked you to leave DJ Cool Kids? I don't remember that.
What?
What? What's going on here? Or are you referring to last week when we unfortunately could not have the stream? What happened? I don't understand. Hi Rachel. Hi, is it Defunct Pistol? Hi Ashley. Yeah, well actually you guys are a little bit late because we're also late. We were supposed to start about 10 minutes ago. We went out to a big family gathering today, so we're a little bit behind schedule. And we're also figuring out what we're going to talk about today, which is why there is no topic, because we're just going to talk about whatever. I think that's the best way to kick it off. Brandon Bazile has asked the question that I think we were hoping to avoid straight away. What are our thoughts on the Final Fantasy 15 multiplayer, Lauren? We have none.
We have none because we have not been playing it.
We have not been playing it. And that's not necessarily because we hate Final Fantasy 15 in any way whatsoever. It's because we don't have the season pass. So we don't have access to it. What have you guys been thinking? How many of you guys have been playing the multiplayer? Have you enjoyed it? Have you played the second test, which I believe is out of the way now? We can talk about the Final Fantasy 15 multiplayer. It's just that we haven't actually played it. And to be honest, we've had a really crazy busy week. So we haven't really had time to check out everyone else playing either.
No. Not at all.
Okay, fair enough. It doesn't look like anyone else is playing either. Is that just because you guys don't have the season pass, or you just don't have any interest in it at all? I've heard mixed things. I've heard that it's very much not a beta. It's very much a test where they were just kind of testing server loads and stuff. So in terms of the content, it's quite limited, and they were having loads of server connectivity issues. Hence the second test they put out. So yeah, I think like there have been a lot of people that went in with reasonably high expectations, and they've kind of been disappointed. But yeah, we haven't checked it out ourselves. We also Miami Grapha 305. We haven't had a chance to play Stormblood either. We haven't actually played Final Fantasy 14 for quite some time now. I think probably over a year, right?
A year that we've what? Sorry.
We haven't played Final Fantasy 14
No,
for a long time.
Yeah, no, over a year now. Over about a year and a half now.
Yeah. All right, great topic, cool kids. Liking it. Where do we think Square Enix as a company will go within the next decade?
Next decade.
Yeah, where are they going to be by 2027? I think they're still going to be around. I think they'll still be around. I think it's difficult to envision Dragon Quest not being a seller in Japan. So like they'll always have Dragon Quest and its associated spin-offs to kind of carry on whittling away. The fact that Final Fantasy 11 is still going and Final Fantasy 14 still has a lot of popularity, I can see that going on for at least another, well, Final Fantasy 14 at least going on for another 5 years, if not more. I mean, like the crest of positivity surrounding that game is just, it would take a lot for them to undo that goodwill that's built up.
Yeah.
So Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy 11 and Final Fantasy 14 are going to sustain them no matter what happens.
Yeah.
And then you've got games like Brave Exvius, Mobius, Record Keeper, Kingdom Hearts Key. There's all the other ones that I'm forgetting. They're the mobile games.
I'll get to you in a second.
That are very much sustaining them too.
just gonna promote the stream.
Whether or not they go in the direction that we want them to is a very different question.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, it's just gotten a bit silly recently with regards to sort of what we want versus what Square Enix thinks that we want.
Yeah.
It's just a shame.
I mean,
going on sort it out.
Going with the way the things are for us Final Fantasy fans, it would be a quite depressing decade. I can see, because we might get one game, maybe two. Yeah,
like, and then we kind of had this conversation on Twitter a bit, because it seems like a lot of Square Enix's sort of fan bases are all kind of fighting with each other over who's the most neglected. Because like a lot of people are saying that Dragon Quest has been neglected for a while. Some people are saying, well, Kingdom Hearts has been really neglected, and some people are saying that Final Fantasy has been really neglected. And I do think that, like, you know, if you think about what has happened over the last decade or so, Final Fantasy, I do feel, is the one that's been in the most sort of disarray, because, like, if you think about it, we haven't had an original main game since Final Fantasy 13, really.
Yeah.
Because Final Fantasy 15 was supposed to be Final Fantasy Versus 13. So it wasn't original. It wasn't anything. It's just because it's been in development. Years ago. Yeah, it's just because, like, it was in development for that long. And so, you know, we haven't had an original game, a solid game experience for Final Fantasy in a while that hasn't been either an MMO or some kind of spin-off or whatever. Whereas, like, you think about Dragon Quest, I mean, they've had a couple games now. They did have an MMO, but they've had a couple games now where they've been main series games.
Dragon Quest 11 is...
Kingdom Hearts has had spin-offs. However, they have been related to the main story, so they still count as legitimate things. It's just the direction that Nomura wanted to take for that. But with Final Fantasy, we've basically had tribute games for the last 10 years. Yeah. And it's just getting a bit stale. Like, I'm getting a bit tired for the moment. And I don't know where we're going to go.
Well, I mean, Final Fantasy has been sustained by remasters and tribute games. Like, since the 20th anniversary, we've had Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, 13-3, like lots of Dissidias, Theatrhythms, Explorers, World of Final Fantasy, and then like 10, 10-2 remaster, 9 remaster, 8, 7 on PS4, like...
We've had so many remasters, and then we've also, like, not only that, we've had like the 10 remasters, and like now 12. Like, people were saying, well, like, why aren't you just happy about the fact that we have a 12 remaster now? And it's like, well, not everybody likes 12. Like,
yeah,
not everybody enjoys battle system.
I would love it if the Zodiac Age is sold well enough that they can make another game based around the Ivalice franchise. Like, that's something that would be worthwhile. It's something original. Question, Drax 100, have I heard anything about mobile Final Fantasy 11 online? Absolutely diddly squat.
Yeah, I know.
There was the update, I think, last year from Nexon saying that it's still in development, but other than that, nothing.
It's just crazy.
Solid Chozo, for the Final Fantasy 15 survey, are those choices updates or DLC that you pay for with the season pass? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Can you clarify what you're actually asking? Sorry. Thank you, Shadow Wolf. Thank you very much for you're all saying we're awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Remasters are great, but like when you've had so many of them, it's just a bit like, okay. I want a new one. I want a new game. Like, I want a new game.
I mean, I don't have a problem with them using them to kind of sustain the business because, like, yeah, there have been so few numbered Final Fantasy titles. As we've talked about before, the period, like the demographics of the people that have come into the franchise are so different now. Like, they need to kind of reintroduce people to the older games, and obviously the remaster is the easiest way to do that because I can't imagine too many like 15-year-olds want to go and play the original Final Fantasy VII. Like, from an expectation perspective, like it just is so far out from anything they're used to playing right now. So like, yeah, I mean the Final Fantasy 12 remaster's been good for that. I think it's kind of brought up to date in a good way. Thank you, John Smith. I'm glad you're enjoying the server analysis. I've actually just had some negative commentary that I'm gonna have to respond to after this stream about it. Oh, Solitude. I see what you mean. So that was based around the survey that was actually in the game. So I don't know what they're going to plan to do with it. It was more just to see how the respondents of our survey answered it, and then hopefully that will give some foresight into how the official survey from Final Fantasy 15 pans out. Whether or not they even do hard mode, I would imagine something like that would be a free update, whereas story content is more likely to be paid, but you never know. I mean, we don't even know if they're going to do anything with it. They might just be finding out what people want, and then if it's something that is like Arden's story, maybe they don't have time for that. Whereas if it was hard mode, maybe they have time for that. Like we don't know. What else is going on, Lawrence?
In terms of
Hi Resident Fantasy.
Hi Resident Fantasy. In terms of Final Fantasy?
If I was going to guess on this Final Fantasy 7 remake news when it would happen, my guess would have been E3. I genuinely don't understand why they skipped it. Well, I understand because of the whole development shifts and stuff. I mean, the pessimistic person in me thinks that actually, even though Nomura said it at the end of last year and reiterated at the beginning of this year that we would get an update at like one of the big events this year, I'm now thinking that maybe they just won't.
Yeah.
Gamescom looks like it's going to be focused around Final Fantasy 15. And so that means that TGS, but is TGS the best place to do? There's also PlayStation Experience. Actually, that's probably the best.
Yeah,
that might be the best shout because that's where we saw the last trailer for the Final Fantasy 7 remake at the PlayStation Experience. So I'd say that's probably the most likely.
Yeah. Our opinions on the worst Final Fantasy. I mean, it's really kind of hard to rank Final Fantasy games, but if I'm honest with you guys at the moment, and I like to be honest with you guys,
being real,
I'm not enjoying Final Fantasy 12 again. And I know that that's gonna rub some sour things, but it really sort of irks me that
hitting a nerve now. It's going through a really positive thing right now. Lawrence.
I know, but somebody did ask, and I'm really not enjoying 12. I'm not. I don't like the characters.
But are you enjoying it less than you enjoyed 3?
Possibly not. Like, I didn't mind 3. Like, I didn't mind 3. 2 was probably the one that I was just like, this is boring.
I really enjoyed 2. It's really bad to say, but I really enjoyed 2's gameplay system. And I know that that's a really weird opinion, especially because even Sakaguchi's come out and just said that the gameplay in that game was terrible.
But, like, with 12... I don't like the battle system. I think for me, I just feel like I'm not doing anything. I don't like the characters. I think that the fact that they chose to make Ash so unlikable for the first half of the game does not do it for the majority of the game is really unhelpful. Like, I'm all for the tough female protagonist, but they make her unlikable. Like, I don't like her. Like, she's just not a nice person, and like it's just not good, and it does really piss me right off when people have it as their number 2 Final Fantasy, because for me, like, I mean, granted, everybody's entitled to their opinion, whatever, but like when you put something like Final Fantasy X so low on a list and Final Fantasy 12 so high on a list, when 10 has a clearly coherent story, it has one scene that everybody complains about, the ha 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 scene. That is one scene out of like a 50-hour game. The finger's coming out. But like, you know, Final Fantasy X is a great game, and it does not deserve the hate that it gets. And it has a very coherent beginning, middle, end. You have clear character developments among pretty much every single character in the game, including Auron. Lulu has an arc. Wakka has an arc. Hold on. Riku has an arc.
Everyone here is saying Final Fantasy 2 is the worst. Like, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. I love
Lightning.
But Final Fantasy 1, right? I don't know if it's just because of the nostalgia associated to it, but like, I didn't play Final Fantasy 1 first, and I know I'm harping on here like this, everything, blah blah. But Final Fantasy 2 actually had a story. Like, it was okay. I know it's basically a Star Wars ripoff, but I enjoyed playing Final Fantasy 2. Final Fantasy 1, genuine struggle every time I play that game. It's just like nothing happens.
Yeah.
There's like 2 lines of dialogue everywhere, and you like there's nothing to it. It's just so basic.
Yeah. But like, that's the thing. Like, I just, yeah, Kirsty, I'm sorry. I know. I really wanted to like it this time, but I honestly, like, I haven't picked it up. I've put it down, and I just haven't gone back to it, and I just don't like it. But like, Alexander, I know what you're trying to say, but every single Final Fantasy game is linear, except for probably like Final Fantasy 15.
They're all very linear, but they have the illusion of non-linearity.
Yeah, they have the illusion of non-linearity, but like, literally in Final Fantasy 1, if you don't do the main story, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, in Final Fantasy 1, if you don't progress in the route that they ask you to,
exactly,
there is literally nothing to do.
If you can go off
and there's the thing, you can explore, but you get literally no benefit from doing so.
Yeah, and like, I mean, you just think about like Final Fantasy like 9 as well. Like, if you don't do the main story, you're not actually progressing. If you don't do the main story in 8, you're not actually progressing. Like, there isn't an open world, which is why when everybody says about Final Fantasy 13, it's just like, it's not really that true.
Actually, no, that is a very, very good point. The worst Final Fantasy game is Mystic Quest.
It's very true.
I thank you for reminding me.
No. Wait. All the bravest.
Also, very good call. Bravest. Very good call. Someone asked me a question. What was it? One of my feelings on Final Fantasy 12. Lawrence had her time.
Yes, I
You've
have.
had your time.
I have. I'm sorry.
What do I'm
you like that it's going faster.
I'm more sympathetic to it this time. I don't know if that's a good way of phrasing it, but like, I feel like I have more compassion towards what Final Fantasy 12 is trying to offer. I think I said on the first stream after, I remember when I was playing it originally, and there were points where I just kind of just thought, nah, like, I was so engrossed up until the Leviathan, when you rescue Ash and all that stuff, and then going to see the Gareth, and I think it's when the story the story goes through like a transitional period where initially it's really fast paced, and there's a lot of stuff happening. You're getting introduced to all these characters and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden it's a quest for Ash to get revenge, and that just didn't. It's not that all the other characters are trying to dissuade her from that path, and I guess that's the whole point about it and stuff. But they're being driven and by it, but then the character motivations kind of change. Like, I don't know, just the storytelling after that point just seemed a bit lazy as well, because like Balthier having his massive heart-to-heart with Ash, which she didn't even remotely ask for. And I don't know why he's telling her all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then
he just like, by the way,
I'm a pirate, I do everything for my own cause, but we should definitely go here as a group. Here's where we should go. This is where we should do all this stuff. Where in the first half, he's just like, I really don't want to do this.
Yeah. Why are we doing this? Like, why are you even going on this journey? We should just stay home.
But no, I really like the battle system. I think it's great. But I would say that I've been able to cheese the game basically with almost no gambits.
Yeah.
I set up some gambits for Vaan. I'm using Vaan, Thrash, and Bash.
Yeah.
Vaan, Fran, and Bash as my characters. I've got, I don't remember what they are. So Vaan's Foebreaker, Shikari. Bash is a knight Bushi, and Fran is a white mage machinist. She has like limited curative gambits. Bash has no gambits apart from attack what Vaan is attacking. And Vaan's are...
And DJ Cool Kid, do yourself a freaking favor and play Final Fantasy Type 0. Because I know all the cool kids are all about, let's just play Duskai. But Type 0 is actually a pretty freaking good game. Like, it is actually good. I pity the poor people who have picked up Type 0 and have not played it. Because it actually is. You mean the people
that brought it for episode Duskai?
Yes.
And then just didn't.
Yeah, and just didn't play it.
Sorry,
that is a good
I feel
game.
I feel like no one's actually interacted with my Final Fantasy 12 feedback at all.
You're okay, Daryl.
Stop. Aww.
Well, to be honest, like it is a bit of a delay, isn't it? Like you have to let it catch up. People will catch up in the stream. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think everyone knows that Vaan is not really the main character of the game.
Yeah.
But there is no real main character of the game. You could make an argument. Fran, Penelo, and Vaan are very much not the main characters of that game, but you can make an argument for Ash, Balthier, or Bash as the main characters of the game.
Yeah.
But I think that Vayne is a really bad villain. I don't know how you guys would feel about it. I know we had that discussion before about what makes a good villain, and one of the things we were talking about was persistence. Like they need to be a persistent entity across the story, and Vayne hardly even appears in the story. Like he has a couple of scenes, but outside of that, he does very little. And like, there's no real motivation for trying to stop him other than Ash wanting revenge.
Yeah, Paul, that annoys the crap out of us too, because you're just waiting there and you're just like, I'm done.
Paul,
I'm done with this.
You can skip it. If you when the boss is kind of usually when a boss dies, there's like a little cutscene that happens afterwards during the death animation. If you skip that, you skip the congratulations. It's the best thing I've ever found.
I don't want to be congratulated.
No, I don't. It's like I don't mind a little bit of congratulations, but it just goes on for such a long period of time. It's unnecessary.
Damascus Unverse. I really like Type 0. I know that people complain about the battle system, but I find it fun, and I mean the leveling up is great because you can just sort of send your characters to a arena and have them play while you're away, essentially.
And you could glitch that.
And that's
as well.
You can glitch that if you want to, but
which everyone does. Why would you not choose to exploit a glitch that makes you level up?
Because I find it too much of an effort. So yeah, so there is that kind of thing there, but the story I think is really good. The only issue that we have with Final Fantasy Type 0 is that it was meant to be a PSP game. It is not meant to be a it's not meant to be a PlayStation 4 game. So the way that it works is not ideal for PlayStation 4. However, I did still really enjoy it.
No, I'd probably say that skipping the congratulations thing is the best thing that I found.
The Moogle Chocobo Carnival is returning. Is it already returned?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should already be returned. So yeah, go in there, get your dream egg, whatever that is used for.
DJ Cool Kid, it's more the fact that it congratulates you, and it literally lasts about 10 to 15 seconds of the just saying congratulations on the screen and the camera kind of panning around. It's not like the 1 or 2 seconds in most of the games. It's a really long thing and you can't skip it. I believe Hicks Z34 Final Fantasy VI was supposed to be getting a remaster on the DS.
I think
it got cancelled.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like part of it is just out of hype, because if you think about the general consensus of like other gamers, like there's probably there's like a core fan base for Final Fantasy VI, isn't there? And people who love Final Fantasy VI, but how can they sell that to an outer market? Which, you know, they can sort of do that with 10, because I feel like PlayStation 2 was like one of the
and I
best
think
selling
when they were doing
consoles.
The DS remakes, it worked really well for them because it was obviously the 16-bit era games.
Yeah.
And the market was DS players.
Yeah.
Like DS players,
I don't know why they stopped, why they didn't carry on with 5.
I think it's just because
6.
the DS was on its way out.
Maybe.
I think with the 3DS, the expectations on the games is much higher.
Yeah, possibly. And maybe they just didn't sell. It didn't sell as much.
I think they did sell
really well. I mean, because they did it on Steam, but like I feel like with Final Fantasy X is such a huge game. Final Fantasy 12, to be honest, I still kind of don't know why they remastered it. Because like, I mean, well, it's been a decent success for them, but like
I don't know how it's sold actually.
I know
that it's sold okay in the UK, but
like aside from the angry fan people who have been saying, you know, we should do it. Maybe it's something to do with the fact that they had the PlayStation 2 stuff around because it was the last easy one to do. They could do the stuff with Final Fantasy X, so they figured, well, we made a HD remaster of 10, so theoretically doing it with 12 will be good as well. But yeah.
Yusuf Al-Rumi, we're gonna hopefully have the last part of the survey up next week, and in that we're going to be looking at how people viewed Final Fantasy 15 prior to the release of Episode Dusksky. Well, no, after playing Episode Dusksky, and how they've viewed the game after Final Fantasy 15's released. Someone seems to think that, like, and I said that as some negative commentary, that people seem to think that we're trying to
paint Final Fantasy 15 in a bad light.
Yeah, we're trying to like push this weird agenda that Final Fantasy 15 sucked, and it's like, well, I'm not making up the results of the survey.
I know, like what is going on? Like why are
I'm having to pick titles that are reflective of what people have said in the results.
I know, but we're wrong because other people said that they don't like it.
Like I don't understand that one. What am I supposed to say? Like everyone
loved it. Here are the results, which show that they didn't really love it. Boom. Like, should we just not release the survey results? No. And everybody about the remakes and remasters. At this point, I really just want a new game. I just want a new game. Just give me something.
I think they've kind of they've shot themselves in the foot in a way because they spend so long on the spin-offs and the remakes and the remasters that they don't have anyone to actually make the new games, and they've committed so much stuff to making all these kind of spin-off titles and everything that there's no one to actually make the main game that's going to drive the interest. And I still don't get why they haven't cottoned on to how they made Final Fantasy popular in the first place. It's that they had really solid games that happen in a consistent period of time. And if you look at any of the big franchises that happen, that's generally kind of what the pattern is. I mean, Call of Duty, like loads of high quality games in a big consistent period of time. And yeah, sure, like they've kind of tailed off a little bit, but then all it took was them to do a World War II game and then you're done. Yeah. Battlefield has had lots of consistent games, like FIFA has consistent games every single year. Sports games, they just keep churning them out, but they improve them every time. Yeah. Final Fantasy got popular because 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 all came out within the space of like 6 years. Mm-hmm.
And each of them were really good in their own way. Like they all had decent gameplay, they all had decent stories, and it's like I get really annoyed nowadays because everybody's just like nostalgia factor, but like these games were really good. Like you can't knock the fact that Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy even like 4 and 5, like, well, particularly 4 probably.
Yoichi Wada. Yeah,
Yoichi Wada. He's watching you.
Yoichi Wada's always watching us.
He is. But they were good games.
No, it's broken.
And it is kind of sad now that, you know, we don't have the same care isn't coming out.
Well done.
I don't think so. Maybe it is.
That would make no sense.
To have Yoichi Wada forever.
Yoichi Wada for life. But yeah, I mean, like there is obviously the whole thing around if people talk about like oversaturation of games, and I do think that is a point where if you have a game coming out every year, then it can get too much. Oh, there we go. We're back. But I think that as long as the quality is maintained, then it doesn't make a difference. I think for us,
oh no,
with I think for me that like the big one is Assassin's Creed. So with Assassin's Creed 1 that came out, Assassin's Creed 2 came out not too long after. Then they decided to do Brotherhood, and both of us, and I think a lot of people were really worried about the fact they were doing Brotherhood. It was a spin-off, like a kind of like an intro, like 2.5 kind of game. And they were worried that because it was coming out a year after, the quality was going to be really bad. But it was an amazing game. Like I really loved Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. But then Revelations came out and it wasn't as good. And then 3 was good, 4 was good, but then like they just ran out of the creativity. They just lost it. Assassin's Creed was I was so invested in Assassin's Creed.
I know.
And they've just driven it into the ground.
Oh my god. They could have like done so, like that's what frustrates me the most, is that they just don't think about like the story is always the thing that seems to get like ripped out the first. Like, I mean, they just completely dropped the ball on Desmond.
Transformers 03, like I completely understand what you're saying. Like new games, like games in this generation do take a longer period of time to make. But if you look at how Square Enix handled that in the past, they took a long time to make it then as well. They had multiple teams working on the games.
Yeah, they were.
It wasn't that it was just one team.
It was more organized.
Final Fantasy. They announced Final Fantasy 9, 10, 11 at the same time.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy 8 was in development when Final Fantasy 7 was in development. Like they constantly overlapped, and then they moved people in and out of things. Like,
they were like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, they were extremely well-oiled. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were very efficient with things, and they've lost that.
The problem, a lot of like, I mean, if you just look at the BDs alone, like their top BDs are working on mobile games.
Yeah, like, I mean, like think about it from this perspective, right? So they had Final Fantasy 13. 2 years later, they had 13 Part 2, and then 2 years later after, they had Lightning Returns. I think it's about that period of time. Why couldn't they have just said, okay, so Final Fantasy 13 is in development. When Final Fantasy 13 is about 2 years out, start development on Final Fantasy 14 as the next numbered game, let's say. Then that comes out 2 years later, and then by the time Lightning Returns has come out, the Final Fantasy 13 team have made a new game, say Final Fantasy 15 at that point, that is using all of the technology and all the experience they gained with Final Fantasy 13, but they could probably do the game in half the time then. Because they've already got all the assets. It's not going to take them another 4 years. They could probably do it in 3 if they want to add a lot more creativity to it. But there's no reason why they couldn't have had 2 teams. They have enough business divisions. They've got 10 of them.
I mean, like we talked about this at nauseum on the podcast, but like, a lot of the issues stem from the fact that like Sakaguchi had a really good thing in place once he left. He decided that he was going to have Ito as his gameplay protege, and he was going to have Kitase as his story protege, essentially, or scenario protege, essentially. Now, with Kitase and with Ito, they did not set in place anyone to take over for them. They basically just had, like, okay, I don't want to do these games anymore, and Nomura can do everything. Like, Nomura can do a lot of stuff, so let's just have him do some stuff. And, like, Toriyama, you know, he's good too. And, like, it just got all mangled and meshed up because, like, they didn't really they didn't delegate it well enough to where people knew where they were or what their strengths were. Like, I mean, you think about Nomura, he doesn't have people who, I mean, he kind of has Yuzui, doesn't he, with Kingdom Hearts, but like with Final Fantasy games, like he didn't really have his number 2. Toriyama, like, I don't know who his number 2 would be. Like,
Toriyama, it's, well, like, Toriyama is Kitase's number 2, isn't he?
Yeah, but they just didn't really have the next one off. Like, they just didn't really plan that well. To always have people who could work well in a team. Like, at the moment, I think it would be great if, like, Nomura and Tabata could work on a team together, but, like, they just don't.
And like, I mean, someone said that, you know, modern games take a lot of money, but look at it from this perspective. I think Final Fantasy VII was the most expensive game, one of the most expensive games ever made. Final Fantasy 15 made a profit on its first day on sale. Like, so they couldn't have been that difficult. It couldn't have been that expensive to make. They sold 6 million copies. They made profit. Why can they have another game coming out this year or next year that's Final Fantasy 16, get another 6 million, 7 million copies? You're going to build momentum if the games are good. We saw from the survey that 95% of people that played the game for the first time are now really excited for the next game. I think it was like 75% of hardcore fans are more excited for the next game. Put the next game out. More people will buy it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not rocket science.
No. But yeah, no. I mean, like, with Nomura, like, it's not his fault, but it's also not like that. That's a whole different like situation. That's all about sort of crossovers and into different engines and stuff. And I think that's also where Square Enix kind of dropped the ball, is that they're really trying to be an everything kind of like game.
Well, they put Final Fantasy 13, they put all their eggs into whatever it was called, Crystal Tools, and then they decided to bin that, and then that came into Luminous Engine, and then no one else in the company is even losing Luminous Engine.
They just they just keep like trying things out and then keep dropping the ball on them.
Hold it. Hicks Z34. That is not the case.
No.
Yuichi Wada saved the company but also ruined it. So even before the merger with Enix, most of the stuff that happened was already in play. The compilation of Final Fantasy VII was in play well before the merger with Enix. Final Fantasy X Part 2 was in play well before the merger with Enix. The MMOs were in play well before the merger with Enix. Like, most of the stuff that we see as systematic was bad with the company now was very much Yuichi Wada trying to save the company because Sakaguchi had run it into the ground financially with the spirits within. Like, he did what he needed to do to make the company profitable again. It just wasn't a long-term strategy. Like, they got so focused on the money side of things that they forgot about the quality side of things.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the biggest problem. They just didn't focus on the quality. And like, I mean, I can completely understand why, like, who's the new CEO? Matsuda, like, I can completely understand why he wanted to focus on mobile market, because it is a really big market that you could tap into.
I believe Z34, the Sakaguchi was already planning to leave. I can't remember the full details of it. I wrote it up a while ago, but basically he'd already registered a company called Mistwalker and was good to, like, the domain was registered before the merger happened.
Yeah.
He was gone.
I think he was ready to leave after 6, to be fair. I think that just happens though. Like, companies just get too big for certain people and too ingrained in certain things that it's hard to break away from it. Like, I mean, for that time period, like, Final Fantasy was like Square's life. And like, it, even though there's so much change in Final Fantasy, like, Sakaguchi was a dreamer. Like, he wanted to do things, like, he wanted to do Dirge of Cerberus. He wanted to do films. No. He just wanted to try.
No, Sakaguchi was Katase's baby.
Was Katase's baby?
Yeah.
Oh, Dirge of Cerberus was. Yeah. I thought he wanted to do a shooter though.
That was Katase.
Oh, that was Katase. Never mind. I'm misinforming you people. Sorry. But the thing like, Square, he did still want to do things.
Square as a company, they had their core teams that worked on Final Fantasy, but they were open to experimentation with other things. We had games like Chrono Trigger come out. We had like Bahamut Lagoon. There was like games like Urgis and The Bouncer and Bushido Blade. Like all these kind of weird other games that some of them hit, some of them miss.
Yeah.
But like Kingdom Hearts is another one that we got from Square. Like they tried different things, and whereas now it's under Yuichi, it's kind of different now under Matsuda. He's more focusing on the originality within mobile games, but Wada really basically took originality out of the company because he didn't see it as a profitable way of running it. It was after, I remember very clearly in my mind, there was a game called Sigma Harmonics that came out not too long after The What Ends With You. And he deemed both, even though The World Ends With You is a critical success and has a very core fan base, he deems both that and Sigma Harmonix as complete failures commercially. And after Sigma Harmonix came out, he basically said that we're not going to focus on making original titles anymore. They don't sell. It's too much of a financial risk. We need to focus on exploiting the properties that we already have that we know sell well. So that's Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and Kingdom Hearts. And that was his strategy, just to try and pump as much of that out as he possibly could to make as much money back. I don't know what he was doing with the money, or what, because surely you make the money so you can invest it in research and development so that you can make new original stuff.
Make new stuff. And that is the thing that really sort of gets like bad with Square Enix, is like, you think about the fact that Tabata had to completely remodel his team in for Final Fantasy 15 because people who they had in line to do certain tasks were not up to par to do those tasks. And like, I don't think Square Enix as a company has really transitioned well into the new generation of games. That's what John Smith was
just saying as well. Yeah. Like, they reached a certain size of the company where there is an element of risk that you can have, but most of it's about sustainability.
Well, quality, like size of the thing in general, but also just I would say,
I mean, we were looking up the other day, like Rockstar had, I think it was 800 people or something like that working on GTA 5. Like, they are a massive there's like 10 studios working on that game, but they know what they're good at, and they know how to make a good game. They don't have to make 20 billion games and put out crap and shovelware to try and balance the books. Yeah. Because they've made a core property.
Yeah. I mean, like, the fact that Grand Theft Auto 5 is still making so much bank is just insane.
Yeah.
Like, they literally just had to make one game, and that's done.
I mean...
Well, like, that's the thing. Like, with Persona and Nier, okay, like, right now, where we are with Final Fantasy, it's a bit of a lull, because we just had Final Fantasy 15 come out. We also have Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age. Nier, like, think about the time that we had the first Nier, and then we've had to wait for Nier Automata. We didn't even think that we were going to get Nier Automata.
7 years.
We didn't think that we were going to get another Nier game full stop, because the company that did it died.
That's the thing, Hicks. So Rockstar Ping Pong was actually it was like a test game. Because they created that game because they were going to use the mechanics in a GTA. But they were just like, why don't we just release it as a standalone game?
But like, the thing with Persona is that it's hard to compare Persona with Final Fantasy, if only because they don't follow the Final Fantasy rules. The thing that I love about the Persona games is that they do what I feel like Final Fantasy should have done, in that they take the same system, but they upgrade it and make it nicer. So what you're getting is essentially a spiffed up version of an older game. So you're getting Persona, everything that hopefully people didn't like about Persona 4, they've upgraded in Persona 5, much like they did with Persona 3 to Persona 4, which is not the same case with Final Fantasy. Like, you play a Final Fantasy game, if you play a Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy 13, you're playing completely different games, completely different gameplays, like completely different styles. Like, it's apples and oranges. And so, you know, with the Final Fantasy game, I think they've tried something new, and we're just kind of in a lull at the moment, which sucks. But like, I don't think it's a case that, oh, well, Final Fantasy games suck right now, Persona is so much better. It's just the fact that, like, Atlus aren't trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, that's the only thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So into the Sizzy. I haven't actually watched the NoClip documentary yet. I just keep meaning to, but I haven't had the time. Someone asked, are we happy with the company direction after Final Fantasy 15? I honestly, I think I'm on the fence with that Matsuda. I think he's more beneficial to Square Enix than Yoichi Wada was. I like the fact that he's doing things like, obviously there's the there's the Tokyo RPG Factory that he's made. Their objective is to make retro RPGs like I Am Setsuna, and now they're working on Lost Sphere. And they've got the other studio now. I can never remember the name of it, but they've hired the guy who's essentially created the Tales franchise. And again, his remit is going to be to make original JRPGs. I think that side of things, it's all great. I think the mobile games are a good base. Yeah. I don't agree with how they've got the individual teams running them. I think it should be mobile specific teams.
Yeah, I think they should have one BD for mobile games.
But I think they're just in a massive transitional phase.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that Tabata's team they have the clearest definition about what it is they want to do.
Yeah.
They seem like the most put together team.
Yeah.
But then again, they're doing crap like A New Empire and Justice Monsters 5 and like, not that they're specifically making them, but they are.
But that they're making the decision.
Yeah, like
I think that...
Are we more positive about the series of the future now?
I'm indifferent. Like,
I'd say I am. If I'm going to use the same criteria that I put in the survey, indifference is not a possibility.
Yes.
Are you more or less excited? I'd say I probably am. But I want them to actually do something with that excitement, which now they're not.
I'm excited that Final Fantasy 16 will be completely original with any luck. I hope that it's not Agni's philosophy, if only because I feel like Agni's philosophy should be separate. Like, I think it's sort of the problem they had with Final Fantasy 12 and Final Fantasy 15, in that, like, they were properties before and then they just kind of got canned and, like, melded together by someone else to produce it. Like,
Alex, I mean, annoying. In our opinion, yeah, the mobile games are rubbish, but the thing is, A New Empire is literally there as
money making.
I don't even know. I mean, it appeals to a certain audience. It's definitely not us.
Yeah.
But Mobius, Record Keeper, Brave Exvius, there are a lot of people that love those games.
Yeah, and like I'm not gonna sit here and mock it. Like, Mobius has a really good story. Like, if you take the time to play it, it actually is a decent game. I haven't tried Brave Exvius, but like, I mean, the fact that they have like 25 million downloads, it obviously shows that it's not a bad game. And Record Keeper people still love, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the mobile games are a good source of income for the company. I just hope it doesn't start detracting from the other games they can make, because like, if all you've got to do is like Final Fantasy 15 has sold about 7 million copies now, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they were able to make Final Fantasy 16, what did I say? Final Fantasy 17? No.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy 15 has sold about 7 million copies. If they released Final Fantasy 16 next year, which obviously is now impossible, then if they were able to build up the hype again, which they're already building on a platform that exists, because everyone is still talking about Final Fantasy 15. If 16 was announced like now and it's going to come out next year, people would be so excited about that. Their hype is already built. The marketing is already done.
Yeah.
If they can create compelling characters and a compelling story and just build upon the same gameplay system they had in 15, but just make it slightly better, like, that just makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense. It will sell more than 7 million copies. It has to. Then again, we've seen every Final Fantasy game, the first one on a console always sells the best.
Yeah.
So maybe they wouldn't make more than 7 million copies.
Well, Sin to the Sizzy, like, it kind of has to, because people, like, there's not really a good way of gauging a good game outside of that, really. If people
bad games can sell.
Like, bad games can sell, but they will reach a point where they don't sell anymore and they just stop selling. You know, like, they will reach a point. Like,
that's what I'm saying though, Patrick. I would like, if they announced Final Fantasy 16 and said it's coming out next year, I would be so on that. I would be like, as a fan, I would be extremely thrilled. Like,
I really hope that rumor's true, that they're secretly working on it on the side, and that, like, maybe Ito is working on it or something. Like, I would be really happy about that. I am looking forward to a new game. And yes, the Ice Ninja, we have checked out Tell Titus a Tale. I am tempted to submit something for it, but I don't know. I can't think of what to say. I get really starstruck. I mean, I know that you wouldn't actually be talking to James Arnold Taylor, but like I get really starstruck, like embarrassingly so. We went to go see Carl Pilkington a few years back, and I walked into a bookcase and I couldn't speak when I saw him. And this is Carl Pilkington, like he's like a lad's lad. And
what, bruv?
Yeah, and then like there's so many other times where I've just I played Wii with Zachary Levi.
Yeah.
From what show is he on? Chuck and Rapunzel. And I apparently threw a bit of a tantrum when I lost to him.
You did. What mechanics would we like to see in Final Fantasy 16? I would just want them to continue building on what they've got with Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Either that or go back to what we saw in Final Fantasy 13. Like, I don't want them to just keep coming up with something fresh all the time. They have to do what they did before Final Fantasy 12 and build upon what was already there. Like, Final Fantasy 1 through to Final Fantasy 10-2, there is a clear progression in the battle systems across those 11 games.
Carl Pilkington is amazing. He's one of my favorite people, which is why I waited so long in line to meet him.
And then you had to buy the book as well.
And he had to buy the book. Yeah, that was so annoying. I bought the DVD because I bought the book on Kindle, but they made me buy the book again. Oh.
We are talking to you.
We are talking to you. I'm sorry that I get that effect. I know sometimes I do get a bit intense, though. I get a bit passionate. Hey, I get that from my grandfather.
Are you mentioning Dynasty Warriors in a negative light here?
Oh, Ali Hillis. Yeah, everybody thinks that, like, when I say about our daughter Ali that we've named her out of blah, 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 we've named her after Ali Hillis because we spell it the same. It's not true.
Sorry, Ali Hillis.
Sorry, Ali Hillis.
I'm sorry. Lovely, though.
You are lovely, but not true.
Final Fantasy does not always use a blank slate for their battle systems. That's such a misconception.
Yeah, they are. Said, Final Fantasy,
if you look at Final Fantasy 1 through to Final Fantasy 10 Part 2, the battle systems are pretty much the same. They just build upon them and they like take bits in, take bits out. But at its core, it's still the same system.
You're okay. Yeah, no, they do. The only one that I really feel is like different is Final Fantasy 13, but even that, or sorry, Final Fantasy 12, but even that is still quite.
Well, Final Fantasy 12 is an enhanced version of Final Fantasy 11.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
I'm not really much into engines.
Well, it's more like if Final Fantasy 16 is using Unreal Engine 4 and it means they're able to develop the game faster.
I'd be happy.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
I would definitely be happy with that.
Like, that's the thing. Like, I mean, I guess that's the thing with the Luminous engine is, like, Square Enix tries to have their pot in sort of everything, which is fair enough, but it's like, stick to what you were good with. Like, I know that we keep talking about, like, the Persona games, and let's be real. The Persona games graphics, they're okay. They're not like mind-blowing. Like, they don't really, I mean, I haven't played the newest one, but like they're not like realistic, whoa, this is like so totally awesome. Like, they are still kind of, they have rough edges essentially, but that's because they focus so much on the story instead, whereas Square Enix tries to do everything. They're overachievers. They are.
They're overachievers.
They are. They're overachievers.
To not have a piercing?
Well, yeah, no. Squall has earrings. Cloud has earrings. Tidus has earrings. I don't know if you can't really see Zidane's ears, so I don't know.
We don't know about any of the characters prior to 7. Well, I guess concept art. Maybe.
Yeah, I would think that Locke would have earrings if you count him as the main character.
We are married.
I don't have my wedding ring on.
How dare you! Get out! Get out now!
Yeah, no.
Heathen!
I know. I have to take it off for...
Lauren's on the market, everyone.
Shut up. I have to do... I do pole dancing on a... Yeah, that sounds really wrong. I do pole fitness on a Sunday for a couple hours. So, yeah, I have to take off my ring to do that. But no, they don't have to have good graphics to be good. That wasn't necessarily my point. My point was just that it's easier for them.
Final Fantasy X is a great battle system, but they did enhance it. Final Fantasy X Part 2, my friend.
Yes.
Final Fantasy X Part 2.
Final Fantasy X Part 2.
And then that was enhanced to Final Fantasy 13.
I do not want a Final Fantasy 15 2. No. This is my no face. No. I want them to move on from 15. I'm bored.
Who's hot? Me? Lauren?
I'm Stassi. No. But yeah, no, I do. I do. I've been doing pole fitness for the last year or so. It's fun.
I don't know how to say this properly. Eogan? Please tell me, because that sounds like a Celtic name, and I'm really bad with their pronunciation. But I like the hybrid. I genuinely like the hybrid. I don't like it when it's one or the other.
As I did say, Micah, I have not played Persona 5. I have not played Persona 5. All I can base my opinion on is Catherine, which has very similar graphics, in my opinion, to like Persona 4 and Persona 3. Like I didn't really see much of a difference. So I can't say anything about Persona 5 because I have not played it. So let's just get that clear. And I'm not trying to roast Persona. I like Persona. Well, I do and I don't like Persona. I don't like the social link system. It stresses me out.
I've never played a Persona game.
Like, I do like Type 0. But, yeah.
You're hot, Lawrence. Not me.
Aw. No, you're hot. You look like, what's his name?
The
Ajax?
Guy. Yeah, the guy from Deadpool.
Steven from Deadpool, or whatever his name is. From Deadpool. The guy who look up the guy who hunts Deadpool, or
Deadpool hunts.
Deadpool hunts in Deadpool, and apparently that is Daryl's doppelganger. And he is quite, yeah, they do quite look alike. I do like Persona, and I am sort of excited to play Persona 5, but I'm of the like massive minority that actually didn't like Persona 4, and I know that that's a shame, but like I liked Persona 3 a lot more than Persona 4. Catherine is where it's at. Catherine was my favorite. Like, Catherine is just so good. Francis, that's it. Francis. Thank you, Lewis James.
But not from Malcolm in the Middle.
No, not from Malcolm in the Middle. No. Francis from Deadpool.
The Tales franchise is something that has also eluded us.
Yeah, I've tried.
I've only played the one that I think is considered the worst, which is really bad.
I've tried Tales of Xillia, and I couldn't get into the system or.
No, you played Tales of the Abyss.
Oh, did I play Tales of the Abyss?
Yeah, on the 3DS.
Oh yeah. I played that one.
And I've played Tales of Symphonia: Dawn of the New World. And thanks,
Persona 3 FES. Persona 3 FES. That is a good version of Persona 3.
Woo.
Yeah. Persona 3 FES. That freaking theme song always gets me pumped. And the battle theme, like everything about Persona 3 is just epic. I love Persona 3 so much. I just love it.
I believe Cami4242 that the Final Fantasy 11 mobile game is going to be that. I think an offline version of it.
But no, if they could release another Catherine game, I would be totally for that. I want another Catherine. But yeah, no, I couldn't get into the Tales game that I played, Tales of the Abyss. I could not get into it. And I've tried Golden. I don't like it. That's the only version of Persona 4
what do we have
that I've played. There? We have Golden.
Oh.
We have Persona 4 Golden. It's down there. And it's in our very small Vita pile. It's in our very small Vita collection.
I think we brought Golden with the intention of me playing it, and then I never...
And me playing it as well. Yeah, no, I bought it for me. I didn't buy it for you. Fine. I bought it for me. But yeah, Bravely, that's Daryl's. Daryl's has played the Bravely series. I really want to play it, but
Bravely Second. I played Bravely Default.
We do it every week.
Owen.
Eogan.
Yeah. Owen.
Yeah. Oh, Owen. Yes, Owen. Yes, we play it every week.
We play it every week. We live stream every week at 9 o'clock GMT, or 9:10 as today.
Oh, I'm sorry. I totally pronounced that wrong.
We did have the whole conversation about it.
I wasn't paying attention. My mom brain turned it off.
I have played the original Dragon Age. Didn't like that very much. Played Dragon Age 2. Preferred that. Haven't played Dragon Age Origins.
I don't like Persona 4. I couldn't get into it. I just didn't like the characters. Like,
is this just going to be like a...
I know, this is kind of like a Persona cast.
No, well, it's not. It's just opinions. Is it just like... Are you just going to ask us random games and we're just going to do hot or not?
Yeah.
Is this going to be like hot or
not
for games?
Hot or not.
Nier Automata, hot.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I don't like Ash. I'm sorry that I don't like Persona 4. I don't like the character.
Sorry, I don't like everything.
I don't like everything. I don't like the characters in Persona 4. The cast in Persona 4 for me are really obnoxious. For me personally, compared to the cast of Persona 3, I really loved Akihiko, and I found that the cast of Persona 3 was just much more bearable than the cast of Persona 4.
Ooh, Pokemon.
I love Pokemon.
Just don't ask me about Nintendo games in this game because I'm just gonna make a load of enemies.
I haven't played any of the new ones, but I do love Pokemon.
Valkyria Chronicles, I enjoyed it in theory, but I didn't ever finish it.
Outside of Final Fantasy, I mean, I'm quite liking like Fallout and stuff. I like those kind of games. I like I generally play like
anything.
Yeah, we play like a nice variety of games.
I love Dynasty Warriors games. It's my real thing.
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid is fun.
The MGS franchise.
Yeah,
but went
off
it after 4ish.
Yeah. Dark Souls, yes. Well, Demon Souls for me, but yeah, that series is great.
Best town theme.
Oh, that is harsh. Fisherman's Horizon.
Yeah.
Fisherman's Horizon. The easy mode.
But what you love Besaid though.
I know, but Fisherman's Horizon, that is banging.
Oh, I always forget to ask, but everyone who's watching, please hit the like button on the stream.
Yes.
Please hit the like button on the stream, please.
I did like the original, like, sort of Assassin's
Creed
series.
1, 2, and Brotherhood were
Uncharted series.
So good.
Uncharted series are fantastic. I really do like them. Ninja Gaiden, we have quite a bit of them, and I love Tekken. I do love Tekken. I was a Tekken girl. I was not a Street Fighter person. I was Tekken. Dance with the Ballenfish. But anyways, we probably should start heading to bed.
Yeah, we probably should.
We need to start heading to bed. I'm sorry for my hatred of games.
I felt like this stream was pretty good, despite the fact we had nothing specific to talk about.
See, I told you. Daryl was so paranoid coming on this. He was like, we're not going to have anything to talk about. Nobody's going to talk to us. And I was just like, we're going to talk to people.
People are going to talk to us.
It's okay, Daryl. I'm here for you.
Thank you.
Push you in the right
Before
direction.
we go there, what has everyone been thinking about the Final Fantasy 15 survey? Like,
have you been liking it? Have you been liking the result?
Generally, people seem to be positive about it. But on the third video, yeah, there have been a few people kind of cropping up saying that they don't really like the way I'm presenting the data, and I'm drawing a lot of conclusions that they don't agree with, and I don't know. Praveen, these streams are at 9 p.m. GMT. Well, whatever London time is. I think it's BST at the moment.
And I do like Devil May Cry. I do really like Devil May Cry.
DMC. Have you you haven't played the new one, have you?
Not the newest one, no. No, I've only played the original 3.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you. It's good to hear. It's good to hear that you guys have been enjoying it. It's been
and Hicks. It was a massive Final Fantasy 15 survey. That was a fan survey. It was conducted over 2,000 people.
2,602.
2,602 people took it and gave their results.
Sin to the Sizzy. Don't worry. Square Enix are
They're well aware.
They are well aware of the survey.
Yes. They're watching us.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Oh, and Heavy Rain, anything pretty much by Quantic. Cage. Yeah. David Cage is my love. And Bioshock. I can't words today.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna dash out. Lauren's gonna whack the Patreon link in the chat if you feel like supporting us on Patreon.
If you don't hate me.
We have a couple of, once these surveys out of the way, we're going to be doing a couple of fan suggested videos through our Patreon. So yeah. How did I like my own survey on a scale of 1 to 10? I'd probably say it was like a 7.5 to an 8. There were some things that I wish I had done better. I think I basically had to cut out all of the kind of post-game stuff because I didn't really handle that well. And I did ask people about if they hadn't finished the game, what had been going on, but I didn't really handle that too well either. But yeah, and I think I would have asked some more questions. So something that's come up recently is kind of when people purchase the season pass, because I was assuming that most people will have purchased the season pass towards the release of the game, and like depending on when that came out, it could have had different different behaviors in terms of likes, not likes, dislikes, and whatever. But yeah, hopefully the survey will be out of the way this week. There's 2 videos. One, we're going to do a video that's hopefully going to go up tomorrow or Tuesday, where we're going to be running through the our version of the official survey results, which I think is going to go pretty much in line with what everyone thinks it's going to say. And then towards the end of the week, probably Friday or Saturday, we're going to have the last part of the survey, which I said is going to talk about people's opinions pre-release versus post-release.
Daryl is English. I am American. Although I am also English now because I have English citizenship.
Yes, Hicks. That's exactly what all the videos have been talking about. They're talking about our survey, not the official Square Enix survey.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're in England, and it is very late.
England. Lady of Vesperia. That sounds like a fantastic.
Good night from France.
Sounds like a fantastic topic to cover in the next week or so. Wait, Gamescom is like the week after next.
Very soon.
Whoa, okay.
Coming up. Coming up.
That would be quite fun, actually. We are the community managers.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, guys. We're gonna disappear. Go to bed. Hopefully we'll get some videos out for you this week, and then we'll see you next week for our next live stream. Bye, everyone. Bye. Have a good evening wherever you are. Have a good rest of the weekend if it's still going on
People
for you.
in Japan and Malta.
Aw.
That's so cool.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys.